So one of the riffs that was the most frustrating in that regard was called the Cursed Riff. We tried to put that into songs maybe 3 times before we actually landed in one song.
I think we might have tried it with almost every song on this new album.
I think so. And then we had 2 months until the studio. This video is brought to you by Sheet Happens. Go to sheethappenspublishing.com. Use code Brodie for 15% off at checkout. Okay, thanks, bye. Welcome back to the channel. This is Tobi.
That's me.
You play guitar in a band that I do also.
Yeah, what are the odds?
We've been playing the band for 12 years.
Yeah, it's been 12 years.
The first time you and I ever met was when I played a show with you with my old band. My band was called Every Black Minute. Your band is called?
Muspelheim.
Muspelheim.
We played in like Abbotsford?
The city that I grew up in, City of Angels.
So, City of something.
That's because that's where all your dreams go to die. The venue that we played at was called McCallum Activity Center. It was honestly awesome. It was just like an activity hall or whatever. And we had so many shows there.
That was the only time we played, and that was the last time we played because we actually got banned from playing there because we showed up absolutely blackout drunk.
Yeah. So we met there very briefly, and I remember thinking, wow, what a great guitar player. The other guitar player, not you.
Yeah, not me.
And then a few years later, I was jamming with our current drummer, Spencer, and Spencer was pushing to have you in the band. And you were in a band, and you didn't want to be in 2, and eventually you quit that Muspelheim band.
Yeah, we just kind of parted ways, and then...
And we moved your gear from the stage of your last show to our jam spot.
Yeah.
We packed up all your stuff from the stage, took it into a cab, I think, from the show, I think it was at the rickshaw, to our jam spot, and I think I asked you, cool, are you a good guitar player? Because now you're officially in the band. Yeah. And that's yet to be seen. But today we're gonna find out if you're good, because I'm gonna put you through the paces.
Oh, cruel.
Cruel. Oh. We're just going to talk a little bit about some of our favorite riffs of our last album, or maybe other albums. I don't know.
Like other bands' albums?
Yeah, better riffs.
Our favorite, the better riffs.
I can say one riff that I think might have been the first riff written for the album. Maybe.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so this one right here. I think so, because I remember writing that in 2017, or at least whatever it turned into.
We started messing around with it for a while. It's kind of interesting because then like we started working on that for a bit, and then like the whole like that whole thing came a bit after, but it wasn't.
And that's a riff of yours.
Yeah. I haven't played this in a while. We kept writing other stuff, and then I think kind of like putting it away for a bit, and then we worked on Drone Corpse, and that had a bunch of revisions.
Oh my god, that one was painful, dude.
Because I think we had a more or less a skeleton before like all the clean Mozart stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that came later.
Yeah, because we ripped off Mozart's Requiem, I think the Lacrimosa movement, and I was working on it at home probably for like a couple weeks. I was thinking about it. I was like, this is cool, but like, when do I ever use this? One day, none of us had any real ideas, and I was like, I got this one thing. I don't know if you guys would be into it, and everybody was pretty stoked on it.
And it just seemed like a cool place to put it in the song, and then use like the intro, and then have it come later. Awesome.
Yeah, that's great. We should do that more
thanks
often.
Thanks to Mozart
for wherever he is. Maybe he's subscribed to the channel. I don't know.
Oh my god.
So song 2 was Drone Corpse Aviator. Favorite?
It was the hated song. It was a really big melting pot of a bunch of riffs, and we didn't know how to end it, and like part of the song had this whole other fucking thing going on, and it just kind of dragged, but there was these really sick moments that we were like, fuck, we just have to harness those parts.
What's funny about that is that we have this song that people in the band aren't really stoked on or whatever, and then that ended up being our biggest single for the album.
I guess you just never know what's going to be the band's favorite.
Well, there was a song just like that on the previous album called The Remote Tumor Singer. And that one was rough because you and I were trying to revise that. We were sitting here, although in a different kind of space, when my desk was facing that way.
We should recreate this. We should try to move everything.
Yeah, we could take our pants off like I did in the...
Oh, man.
Or wait, no. Yeah, but so we were doing that, no. We were wearing pants. We were wearing shorts, maybe. I don't know, it was just...
It was the summer, it was the summer of 2016.
It was the summer of love, let's be honest.
One.
Yeah, oh my god, it was so hot.
Your place gets hot.
But I've actually looked through that song recently, and there's only 5 riffs.
Yeah.
That's a simple song. And that's, again, one of the songs we were like, oh, this is a song we'll push a lot. But we hated it until you and I sat here for like maybe a couple hours, and we revised 2 parts of it, and it made it way better. And we cut stuff, and that was the most important part.
And we wanted to have a lot of repeating and stuff in it. it was still too, like, it was missing some stuff.
There was one thing about that song that I remember. Check this out. The main riff of the song is like this wacky kind of... So it's that kind of weird shit. We had a riff that came after that. I don't know if you remember what it was. I don't remember what it was.
Like originally?
Originally. So we didn't like the riff. So what we did, instead we cut that riff afterwards, and we just took this and we just moved it down here and we simplified it.
Oh, right. Right.
Dude, and that made the song so, like, way cooler. And it was just the idea of taking that really complex kind of riff, fast kind of thing, or keeping the chord tempo the same, but cutting down the note velocity to half instead of and keep the same kind of melody. And that might be what we did in Drone Corpse a little bit, but I don't really remember the progress. It's been years now.
We had some riffs that we got rid of. We had the intro part, and that was like, okay, that sounds fucking crazy.
Yeah, the intro part always worked. Yeah.
Yeah. The part after, I remember you had to come up with an idea too behind it, because at first it was like, hey, should we both play this? But then that's too thin, because I mean it's pretty high up,
and
it's like.
It's a weird ass technique, man. But yeah, so that is all the way up here past the whatever in this area, the no-go zone of the guitar.
Because it was like, hey, that sounds rad.
Yeah.
Instantly putting Gravity Blast behind it because,
of course,
I mean,
that's the band we're in.
Yeah, yes. And then it was like, hey, maybe you tried that lower, and then you ended up coming up with this really fucking rad.
I just basically did. I mean, it's a simple thing.
But it just works because it supports it, and then the bass is doing a crazy thing too, and it's just like this barrage of
It's a swell into the song, and then it's just like crazy, like obnoxious picking sound, which is what that technique is really. It's like abrasive, obnoxious sort of kind of simpler melody to hold it down in the background, even though it's still like Shermella picked at 16 triplets or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. But after, like the next part where we're harming, like this that whole section, we had like, remember there's like a full riff thing behind that. It like went longer.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing that felt like it almost seemed like it was too long or something.
Yeah.
I think we kept playing it. I think you're like, well, why don't we just take half of that and harmonize it just the way that it worked out. It was like, well, there's something rad in there. Why don't we keep?
Yeah, totally.
I know we fought on that. Like
that's what I'm sitting here remembering. I'm like remembering emotions. I'm like, I remember being upset about something.
Yeah, because it was, and I was like, fuck, this thing's sick. It's a rad, cool, like guitar highlight part, and then it just worked out.
Listening back to the songs now, all the times where you go like, man, I remember stressful, tension-filled times or writing sessions or whatever, and now none of those riffs I even fucking think about.
Yeah, it's like
all that's totally just gone. The thing that was the most like that was, this is actually a song we're going to be playing on tour, and you can actually see us on tour. You can see him, you can see me on tour going through the States and Canada. What is it, April something to May something?
April 13th to May 14th.
Some of the shows are selling out. It's going to be great. So
get your tickets while you can.
Yeah. Please help us, please. So one of the riffs that was the most frustrating in that regard was called the Cursed riff.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so I wrote this riff like maybe 2016, but I didn't write it for this album. I wrote it for the album previous, as far as I remember. Maybe I showed it to you guys once and we just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, it stuck up on the board for a long time.
Do you have any favorite riff names?
Picture of a Dog.
We do have a riff called Picture of a Dog, which is not, I
remember just drawing literally like a dog like on our whiteboard.
We have a shorthand way of writing, so we'll write a riff and then we'll make a name for the riff, and oftentimes it's just like 40 Fs, just
that's a good one.
Or that's all in Golden Mouth of Ruin.
Yeah, the 40 Fs is rad. It's like, hey, are we gonna play
into it, because you have the riff into it.
It's like insanity to.
It's insanity. But this riff, the Cursed riff, it sounds kind of like this. That riff is in a song called Abandon the Linear, and that was a rough go. We tried to put that into songs maybe 3 times before we actually landed in one song.
Yeah, I think we might have tried it with almost every song on this new album.
I think so. Yeah. The tempo was a real contentious point because it couldn't be too fast. So we had to write a song that was like right in this sort of 298 note kind of range, and that's what it ended up being, I think 290.
Well, it's funny, we didn't want to intro hit either.
And here we go.
And we use
That's
it.
Exactly. It was on the song that we wrote as, we basically wrote 7 songs and we finished writing song AUM. And then we had 2 months until the studio, or 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And we said, okay, what we can either do is spend the next 2 months revising and making these other songs really good and have a shorter album, or write a whole new song and push ourselves to do that. And we managed to get a whole new song put out.
Yep.
And I mean, that was stressful, but I mean, I think that song turned out really cool.
And by that time, we were so in the pocket with writing.
Yeah, it'd been 2.5 years.
Yeah, and
almost 2.5 years.
We had like enough stuff to just go with. Actually here, I'll tune. So once I gotta keep tuning back, because one minute I want to play something from the other song. Now we're back to
How dare you.
So it's kind of close to the end where there's like that kind of more tech deathy, like the.
Yeah, right.
That riff.
It's a great riff. That's yours, for sure.
Like, again, we're trying to do strong structure, a lot of repeating, but still making it, Archspire and techie and stuff. But it was like, we were just missing, we need some other riff. I remember fucking around with this idea at home and just thinking of like brutal death metal, like classic tech death stuff, like some of the older stuff. And then eventually just kind of came with this, our version of this. And I know we tweaked it a bit.
Well, also, Ollie really wanted to repeat that part too. He kept trying to push for it to get repeated.
Yeah, because it was like, yo, here's this idea, and then it was like, oh, maybe we can sprinkle it throughout the song, and we tried. Like, I remember you sitting there at the computer and being like, hey, can you put it at 2 minutes? Can you put it at 3? Hey, can you repeat it? Can you actually cut it in half? And you're like, fuck, no.
Man.
So yeah, after all that, it just ended up fitting where it fits, and it's just it's kind of
just like, once in the song.
It's repeated once, but even it doesn't seem too random.
No,
it just seems to work. Like it's like, okay, yeah, this song needs just something a little different.
It's got a really cool vocal part over it as well, like super cool. Please don't touch my guitar.
Oh my god.
Well, anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed us talking about riffs on some of our bands' music. If you want to learn any of these friggin' riffs that we just talked about, you can go over to sheethappenspublishing.com. Use code REDEEM for 15% off at checkout, and you can get the Lucid Collective, you can get Relentless Mutation, and you can get Bleed the Future, or you can get all 3 together. What's your favorite album out of all those?
Oh man, now I'm on the spot. Fuck. I mean, because it's a new album, I'm really, really, really stoked on Bleed the Future.
I think that new one, because that's the one that you can buy very easily right now. That's the one to go for. So,
yeah, that's the one, and we have lots of copies.
Just outside of the frame, there's just towers of copies of the album just waiting to be bought.
Yeah.
So I can barely get in my apartment anymore.
We need your support.
Oh my goodness. So.
That's why, I mean, we're confined really.
Yeah, you can't even.
You actually sleep under your desk.
I do now, unfortunately.
It's like the George Costanza kind of rep.
Well, thanks for hanging with us. Hopefully we'll see you on tour, and this has been Toby.
This has been me.